JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So, how do you know if you have a good employee? Well, being a CPA, I've been practicing for 28 years. I've had my own practice for 24. So, needless to say, I've been working with thousands of businesses over the years. And so, this comes from experience, the school of hard knocks, in essence, seeing what my clients have gone through and having my own business, what I have experienced or gone through, if you will. And if I were really to boil it down, it would be this. Are you there making your employee happy, or is your employee there making you happy? Now, what would be happy? Well, when we're talking about happy, we're talking about business, right? So how would a business owner be happy with an employee? Well, that whatever their job description is, they're doing it. They're showing up and doing what it is that you've hired them to do, and obviously doing it well, right? But if someone's doing their job well, they're meeting the job description, in my opinion. So if a business owner feels as though the employee is doing this, then the business owner, I would assume, would be happy with that employee. Now, what does it mean on the reverse? Well, there are lots of employees out there that somehow, either purposely or most of the time subconsciously, move in a direction where all of a sudden the roles are being reversed. And the business owner or the business is trying to ensure that their employee is happy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about a business should be able to act any way that they want, if you will, and it's irrelevant if the employee's happy. It's very relevant that you would want your employee happy, because if they're happy, they're doing a good job. But here's the thing. If that employee is not a fit for what you've hired them to do, that is what they're unhappy with. If you hired them at X amount of dollars per hour or per year, if they're later not happy with that, they've chosen to not be happy with what it is that you presented. Or if they're not happy with a certain aspect of what they're supposed to do, then either re-communicate what you hired them to do, but at the same token, it's not necessarily then an employer's job to keep an employee happy outside of what that business owner has already made a commitment in what they plan to do to keep that employee happy. So employees will get unhappy because possibly small business owners especially get reliant and appreciative of the employee, which is great. But lines get blurred a little bit because the business owner is like, wow, well, I want to make sure I keep this person around. So if they don't like doing this, I'll shave that off. Maybe I'll just do it as a business owner. I'm guilty of that. Or, well, maybe we should hire another employee because if they could do more of this that they're happy doing and less of this that they're not happy doing, then I can keep that employee. Or, well, I better pay them more. Now, yes, if you're giving them more responsibility, if the job description has changed or expanded from when you originally hired them and more pay is warranted, and then, of course, hopefully annual raises that can be afforded, right? But when a business owner decides that they're now going to change a job description or change the compensation when there's really been no change to the business's need or the business's budget, that's where the roles get reversed. Meaning, here's a business, they've defined what it is that they need, they've defined what it is that they can pay for that position. If none of that has changed, but you now have an employee in that position at that compensation and they are not happy, then it is not the business's responsibility. Hopefully you're hearing this correctly. It's not the business's responsibility to now make that employee happy when the employer, the business owner, has done what it is that was presented. Obviously within reason. So know this, as a business owner, you find somebody that's good and you want to keep them around, but they're not happy, then how good are they, and how loyal should you be to them if they're unhappy with what it is that you hired them to do? Now, let's follow this up with many times small business owners decide, oh, I have this key employee. I bet if they're good at this, then they're going to be good over here. And now that employee isn't necessarily happy with that. They're happy maybe to do what it is that you're asking them to do because it might be more responsibility, but different from what it is that they were hired to do. So you're paying them more or whatever benefits go along with that. But if you see that that employee's not happy, the business changed what was going on. So then the business has to decide, well, I changed the deal. I changed what it is that we're doing here. The employee's not happy, so typically what needs to happen there is you move the employee back to what it is that you hired them to do. Just because you move them into a different role and now they're not happy with it, it doesn't mean now you start molding your business around that unhappiness of the employee. What that really means is that they're not happy doing what they're doing. Money's not going to change it. So this is how there can be harmony between a business owner and an employee. So having a good employee is having an employee that's happy, but a happy employee is somebody that's fulfilling the role at the compensation that was defined by the business owner. And the business owner then should also be happy because somebody is filling that role, meeting that description at the compensation that was, in essence, prescribed for this. And that's how there then is harmony. When there starts to be discord, when there starts to be unhappiness with the business owner, then check yourself. Have you changed what it is that your expectations are with the employee? And that's why now you're not happy because they're not meeting those expectations. Or if your employee is not happy, is it because their role has changed, different from what they were hired to do? So many times, small business owners, like I said, you get that key employee in there. You want to keep them. You get excited. You put them in different roles. That's not really what you hired them to do. They don't have experience in that background. Maybe it's not a fit for them to do whatever else it is that you're wanting to do or take on additional responsibilities that you're asking them to do. And then guess what? As the business owner, an unhappy employee, whether it's their doing or yours, isn't going to stick around. So that wonderful key employee that you want to keep forever, that you think by changing the role or increasing their responsibility as well as paying them more, may actually be to everybody's demise, because if they grow unhappy with that, they're going to be gone. So maybe as a business owner, be happy with a happy employee that's doing what it is that you hired them to do. And if you need a different role filled, obviously you could consider, but you would do like other big businesses, which is you would put out for resumes and open the position, and also have your key employee apply for that position so that everybody's in the same position as when that employee first joined you. And it truly is indicating, here's the new role, here's the new compensation. The employee is going to, in essence, actually tell you if they want that role, if they're going to apply. Yes, they might have an inside track to it. It may not be as formal, but you need your employee to actually accept what it is that you want to do versus, yeah, I could do that. Or, yeah, that makes sense. You would want them to show you that they really want to do that. And that's to protect the employee and to protect you. So the best way a small business can protect themselves is to keep the employees happy, but not to the level that now that is what the function of the business is doing, or one of those functions. You want to keep the employee happy by doing this: maintaining what it is that you hired them to do at the same compensation with whatever bonuses or increases in pay that are warranted and match up to what it is that would be industry standard, if you will. But that's how you have a good employee. They're happy with what you asked them to do when you hired them at the pay that you prescribed. If they're not happy with that, it's not the business's responsibility to then change the role or change the compensation. The business's responsibility to the customer is to help that employee find a different job, most likely at a different small business. All right, hey, hopefully that helps. Always hard talking about these things, especially with small business owners, because we start to get to know our employees. We have relationships, we care for them, the employees care for the business owner, lines get blurred. But what you want to do is protect everybody. You want to protect the employee, you want to protect the business, so don't blur the lines. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.